All right. So, really excited today. If you're seeing this, you're probably seeing this in our Facebook Ads Mastery group. And it's been a little bit. It's been a little bit of a while since, I have been active in the group, but that is going to be changing. I've had some life events. We just had a small child. And now baby is 3 months old and, things are settling nicely. So, um, I have here Tan May, right, with us, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to introduce you to Tan May here in just a moment. The purpose of this video is to circle back around and talk about lead gen. This is our group here is a group that is going to be focused all about lead gen. For those of you that don't know, my name is Henry Melendi. I'm the owner and founder of Solar Savings USA. We run an agency that typically is a pay-per-lead agency, and we service many different clients all over the country and have since 2015. So I've been at this for a while. This group, and those of you that are new to the group, or maybe those of you that have been around in the group for a while and you've seen like sporadic amounts of content, etc., it's simply because life is busy, business is busy, and, the focus has been on growing the agency and growing, other offers that we have and providing, the fulfillment to our clients. But there is a core need for, and you can tell by the number of people in this group that have found the group, there's a core need for an understanding about what it takes to be successful in lead gen. We've cut our teeth in focusing in on solar. It has since 2015, but we're expanding into many other verticals. Lead gen is really, it's the same animal, vertical to vertical. So even though you find yourself here in a group that is that has quite a few individuals involved in solar and home improvement, what you learn in this group, what we aim to teach in this group, is going to be utilized and can be utilized for for any vertical, because the mechanism of lead gen, the technicalities of lead gen, the systems and the process for effective lead gen is pretty much all the same. What differs is, the offer, the creative, and testing, right? So we aim to cover as much as we possibly can from all different angles, and I will be bringing in special guests, people that I have been affiliated with, and, individuals outside of my sphere that actually are doing really, really good lead gen in many other verticals. We're not going to only be talking about lead gen. We're going to be talking about, the effort of booking appointments and the effort of, what can you do if leads are not your thing and you're more of like instant gratification. You want booked appointments on your calendar. Tan May here. That's the whole reason that he is here today, because he runs an agency that does very well to book appointments. For those of you that are looking for appointments, Tan May is your guy. We're going to talk to Tan May a little bit about that. I think next week I'm going to be lining up with an individual that is, very good at Google My Business and helping you guys to structure your GMB, for you brick and mortar businesses that are working in a localized market. That's super, super important. But, this is all about customer acquisition at the end of the day, right? And there's a lot of different ways for you to acquire customers. And it doesn't matter what particular vertical we're talking about. Online lead gen, in my opinion, is the most scalable way to grow your business, right? Because if you can control your online lead gen, if you can control your source of leads and it can be predictable for you, then you can make educated business decisions as needed in order to grow your sales operation. Many of you guys come from the door knocking world and canvassing world, right? I'm not going to knock on that at all, but it's a much different animal in how you manage that and how you grow that, right? So we will be talking to some people in the world of door knocking as well, because really this is all about lead gen and customer acquisition. That's what this group is about. I'm really excited to be able to now focus in on it, because Tan May even took part in it, right? Well, we created the Facebook Ads Mastery 2.0 course at the end of last year. And we launched it. There's been quite a few individuals that have purchased it, and have had success with it. So I'm happy to hear about that. 2.0 obviously before 2.0 was a 1.0, which happened way back in 2016, 2017. It was a course that went very, very well, right? Many people bought it. Many people became very successful. I have $1 million, affiliates, publishers, if you will, lead generators that have sprung out of that 1.0 version. But this industry is about change, right? And so we updated the Facebook Ads Mastery to a 2.0 version at the end of last year. And then I had the baby, right? And so, I don't know about you guys, but I've got 4 children. One's 13, one's 3 years old, one's 2 years old, and one is now 3 months old. So I have my hands full. It's not an excuse. It is simply just reality. All the while here at Solar Savings USA, we've been continuing on with our business and supplying buyers of leads, all over the country, as well as launching a new program, which is an Alpha Pinktree Mastery, program. That is for individual organizations that are ready to scale, individual organizations that are already spending a good amount of money on retail lead buy. The whole thing with Pinktree is if you master that system, if you implement that system as a sales organization, you're going to be able to acquire volumes of leads from many different angles of the internet, where people are spending their own dime to generate those leads and push the opportunities into your system if you're willing to accept it at a bid price that you choose. So you're basically bidding back, right? And if that is an agreeable amount from the vendor, right, which you're going to be getting leads at below wholesale cost, the lead is posted into your system. As a sales organization, what you can do with that is you can cherry pick the very best traffic because you actually have a feedback loop that allows for you to identify where the best traffic comes from. You ramp up what works, you ramp down what's not working, and it helps you grow faster and smarter with ultimate control over your leads incoming. Secondary to that is organizations are now taking leads that they are generating, and they're identifying core partners, other sales organizations to kind of flip into their network, right? They're expanding their operation because they control the lead. And when you control the lead and you're getting it at a low price because you're plugged into the system and the networks that provide opportunities, then you have the potential to profit as you distribute to your partners. Your partners still get a lead that's higher quality and better than retail price, but you're also able as an organization to turn it into a separate profit center, right? To profit on lead sales to your partner network. So that's what we have been busy with, right? The core fundamental and how you get to the point where you can implement something like that, right? For me, it all started with the idea that I wanted to try to run Facebook advertising for solar. You start somewhere. And then eventually you're going to progress on to a lot of different opportunities. And you're going to understand how to scale your business based on your choosing. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. So this Facebook group is about lead generation and customer acquisition. And these are the topics that we are going to be focused in on moving forward on a regular basis. You have my word on that. And I want to create this community so that you guys have an opportunity to get your questions answered. We've got many different resources and many different connections and contacts that we can provide to you so that you can understand for yourself what is possible, right? I'm going to quit talking right now. Introduce Tanmay. Tanmay, thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate you. Appreciate your time.
Likewise, Henry. And I'm honored to be here and share some insights about how the industry is progressing as a whole. And before touching on that, like Henry mentioned that I've been a part of the Facebook Sales Mastery 2.0 course, and there we have been intensively talking about how you can run good Facebook ads as well as track your metrics, because running ads and tracking your metrics, they are two different things. A lot of people run really good ads, but do not measure their metrics the way they should, or measure their metrics on the back end, which becomes really important at this point of time. So let's talk about the industry first as to how lead gen and appointment setting is changing or has changed in the past couple of years post the iOS 14 updates. So tracking has become an issue, first thing. Second thing, a lot of targeting options have vanished. And the third thing, the interface of Facebook Ads Manager as a whole has changed. So when you look at it, you have the manual ads campaign, you have the tailored ads campaign, and a lot of new guys starting out, they choose the tailored ads campaign and start running ads from it because that is recommended by Facebook. And that is not the ideal strategy to follow initially because when you have a fresh ad account, you are starting with a fresh ad account, you need manual control of almost everything. So if Facebook tells you to do campaign optimization, CBOs, and multi advertising campaigns and all that stuff, you don't really have to do it. You have to keep things simple, go broad, do not narrow down your audiences, and just see how things are moving forward. And a lot of people also have this misconception that you have to spend a fortune on Facebook ads. But if you have good content, good ads, then you can even run good ads on a budget. So that is how the industry as a whole is changing now. And as far as appointments are concerned, like what I prefer is booking appointments from the leads that you are generating. Like Henry has a really good network of the ping tree system where you get inbound leads and then you can book appointments from them because they have a high lead to book the appointment ratio. You also have the concept of speed to lead in there, that as soon as the lead comes in, you talk to them and book an appointment. So inbound leads are more like they're more powerful than outbound leads. Like if you cold call someone and book an appointment with them, the chances of them sitting down, like it comes down to 20-25%, which is very less in my opinion, right? And because they're already getting cold calls from 5 other companies, then it's like you get into a situation of people selling one appointment to multiple companies, and the homeowner already having 5 quotes from 5 other companies. Then you beat them down on the price. So
Right.
yes,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of things. I mean, you mentioned that, selling the appointment to 5 different companies. I mean, here's the thing. This is the Wild West, right? And it's buyer beware. Understand who you're working with, and that's why it's important, obviously to surround yourself with people that are doing good business and get, the referrals and the word of mouth and find people that are credible to work with. But more importantly than that, it's more important to understand the inner workings of the industry and to understand for yourself how this stuff works so that you can properly even vet opportunities to work with other people. I'm always of the opinion that you first have to really understand something before you know what you're looking for, and that is kind of our goal. You touched on some interesting things here, and it brought to mind one particular topic that I think that we should talk about. And we're just kind of like ad-libbing, guys. This is just a free-form conversation that Tanmay and I are having just to kind of introduce you, those in the group, to ourselves so that you understand what we're aiming to do moving forward here. We're going to talk about the industry and acquisition of clients. But TCPA regulations are, they're changing, and many sales organizations and many organizations out there that are currently operating are doing things like calling the phone book, cold calling, their data scraping. There's armies of individuals in third world countries that are simply just, data scraping the most ideal homes and passing it off to be called, right? All fine and good right now. But eventually, in early 2025, TCPA compliance and regulations are going to change, which is going to be, it's going to be very impactful to the industry for those that do not have a firm handle on their own customer acquisition, right? Because the regulations are serious, and professional litigators are going to be looking for people to step outside of the bounds of those regulations. And the major changes is whenever you run an ad out there in the world, right? I'm ABC Solar Company and I run an ad out there. That customer has to do a one-to-one opt-in for TCPA compliance to speak with that particular organization, right? So as an organization, if you are ABC Solar Company and you were running your own ads, no problem. I mean, you can basically create the mechanism for TCPA compliance because they're going to be working directly with you. But as the industry, and many of you guys know, like for the most part, the industry is chock full of lead sellers, right? And if you're running a solar organization, chances are you don't have the bandwidth to run your own media buying and do it well for your brand. And so that's why you hire agencies. That's why you buy leads from other lead providers. But understand, right now, if you're buying a lead from a lead provider, that lead was generated outside of your brand. They haven't, that consumer has not asked to speak with you as the company, right? And that's the major change. Every lead, in order to be within TCPA compliance, has to opt into a one-to-one conversation with you, the company, right? That conversation covers text messaging and phone calls, So this is a major shakeup but it's a major shakeup that actually, in our Pingtree model, this has already been answered. The protocol is called a sit-back protocol, and I can supply you guys a white paper that explains the protocol and how the industry in the Pingtree universe, in the Pingtree world, works to actually allow for one-to-one opt-in of those homeowners to speak with you, the individual company that is actually, bidding on that lead and receiving that lead into your pipeline. The tech is already built. We're just waiting to flip the switch whenever the actual ruling comes down as being effective and now in set in stone. So TCPA compliance is another thing. We're going to talk a lot about TCPA compliance moving forward in the future because I think it's such a big topic that is going to be needed to be understood from the industry in general. This isn't just the solar industry. This is lead gen, and other verticals, right? So, Tam made a good point here in saying that, in the last few years, the industry has changed quite a bit. There's a lot of changes. When you think about it, consumer pressure is an all-time high because there is so many robodial, cold message marketing. Your phone blows up 15 times a day from spam numbers, etc. That's a lot of consumer pressure. So if a consumer is legitimately interested in a service, whether it's insurance, final expense, HVAC, roofing, solar, you name it, right? When they fill that form out, what happens after that? Well, I mean, if it's a lead gen company, they may be selling that many times over. And now all the phone calls, all the texts start to come in. It turns the homeowner off. So it's no wonder that we have to fight very, very hard for connection rates, for conversations, for appointments. There's a lot of consumer pressure. So a bright side to the whole TCPA compliance is it's going to level the playing field. Consumers are not going to have so much pressure at that point, right? Because it's going to be illegal to do. So with that being said, I think that the chances of connection rates are going to be much higher. I think that appointment ratios are going to improve because the consumers have a little bit more security in knowing that if they fill out a form online, they are opting in to speak with one particular organization or opting in to speak with multiple organizations, but they have opted in to speak with them. So the follow-up process is going to be more efficient. That is the silver lining, on the side of sales. Now, as far as lead gen goes, what this means is it's going to make leads more expensive because now that there's so much more involved in generating a one-to-one opt-in, right? Leads are going to become a premium price point, right? So at the end of the day, we all know it's not the cost of the lead. It's always the cost of the acquisition of the sale. You're going to have to figure out the numbers and understand there's a 20% increase in the cost of the lead. How's it backing out for you on the cost of the sale? At the end of the day, we don't care so much about the cost of lead. We just want to know that it backs out to an agreeable cost of the acquisition of the sale. So a lot of different changes. It's an exciting time, honestly, for me, and Tanmay, because we see it coming. We've seen it coming for a long time, and we know that there's already answers in place, but that's part of this process and part of this conversation that we're having, because we want to educate you guys on all facets of the industry and be the place where you can come to understand and have real talk with real professionals in the industry that are doing real good work. I want to introduce you to a network, my network of solid individuals working really, really well in the space. And along the way, educate you as we get there, right? So I think it's a good time for just a plug. If you're struggling, I don't care if you're brand new, right? Or if you've been running your lead gen for 15 years, doesn't matter to me, but I want to create the conversation around what is needed from you guys in the group. And right now, because we have been somewhat inactive, there might not be a whole lot of people paying attention to the group, but that's going to quickly change because the level of activity is going to change, right? And so the level of conversation is going to change, and this is going to be a hub for you guys to really connect with a lot of people and get some of the questions answered, right? We do have paid resources, obviously. We're doing this to give as much information to you guys so that you can understand that we do know what we're talking about. We're players in the industry and we have large networks, right? But I'm going to be very forthright with you. We do have paid opportunities for you to get one-to-one hand holding, and actual training based on what you need. And so it's important to know what you need for the purpose of topics inside of this group, right? So like if you're struggling with Google ads, Google My Business, if you're struggling with Facebook ads, your creative process, if you're struggling with tracking your metrics, if you're struggling with, attribution tracking, whatever the case might be, we want to know about it because we're going to build conversation. We're going to build some value around some of the pain points that you guys have as lead generators, right? So, there's just so much on my mind, Tanmay. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking so much on to put out there for this group, and I'm super excited. So let's talk about appointments, if you don't mind, Tanmay, because I know that is
Yes.
You are a very good lead generator, right? You understand the process, you understand the creative process, you understand tracking. You've generated leads in multiple verticals, but you found a little bit of a niche supplying your clientele. You've taken it to a different step and you supply that clientele, with booked appointments, which everybody wants. Everybody wants to sign up for a booked appointment, right? You're going to set the table for them. So explain to me what your service is. Explain to me kind of like, how you go about taking the leads and turning them into booked appointments, and how you go about making sure that they remain sticky. And, if you could share any metrics with us, I think that the group would love to know about it and possibly even connect.
Yes. As far like if we start with the straight from the opt-in, like out of if 100 people opt in, like we can assume that 20 to 30% of those leads are trash, right? That is what we have set in our minds, because we want to set realistic expectations with ourselves as well as with the people we work with, right? And out of the people that are left over, 60, 70 people, the concept of speed to lead becomes very important, because I think I learned this from one of your webinars only with one of your guys, that if you do not contact the lead within 5 minutes of it coming in, then your chances of getting in touch with them reduces by 70 to 80%. So speed to lead is an important concept, but with that, we need to understand we do not have to be pushy with the homeowner. Otherwise, they'll feel that we are any other solar company down the street and we are trying to scam them, because there is still a really big gray area in the solar industry from the homeowner's perspective, that reps do not do their due diligence. They do not give out the full information to the homeowners as to how the program would work and how the tax credits work and how everything should really look like. And then homeowners think that solar is a scam, right? The same way reps think that lead gen and appointment setting is a scam, right? So it becomes really important for reps to bridge that gap between what the homeowner knows, what they do not know, and what is changing in the industry. Because the interest rates, they're too high right now, right? Just giving a random example. And as soon as the interest rates, they start coming down, you'll see a lot more people making an active commitment to switching to solar, right? That is why we see a lot of cash deals happening, because a lot of people do not want to go the financing route, right?
Yeah.
So if we come back to the appointments, the homeowners, they are looking for companies that have a credible track record, right? And they want to see social proof, right? That is where content becomes very important. If an home like if a homeowner opts for speaking to your company, right, after the TCPA compliance, all that stuff happens, then they really want to see that what
Yeah.
is the content that ABC solar company is putting out there.
I think
If
good for
I can even
footprint.
trust this company. Yes. So building a brand becomes really important. That that increases your sit rate on these appointments, because a lot of people, when they talk about appointments, they talk about the sit rate. Like out of 100 people, if you book 10 appointments, how many of them sat? Like on an average, the sit rate can be between 50 to 60%. In some markets, it's above 60%. In some markets, it's off full 20, 30, 35%. But
Yeah.
to change that, to make sure that people opting in for your service, booking in an appointment, and then you sitting down with them virtually or in an in-home setting, you really need to have some social proof, build a brand, show them that you are a credible company and they can work with you, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because I like when we also book appointments with cold leads, we used to do it. We have reduced it. 90% of the leads that we book appointments with are with warm leads. But cold with cold leads, the performance has been like it was good 6 to 8 months back, but now with everyone coming into cold calling and everyone calling 5, 10, 15, or like the call centers that have bigger capacities calling 200, 300, 400 people in a day. So the homeowners are pissed off. So
Yeah.
they really want to see some social proof before switching to solar with a particular company.
Yeah, the skepticism is an all-time high, and it's no wonder because, so many lead generators that are after the low-cost lead is, I mean, they're just running a whole bunch of falsities. Their offers are so aggressive that we hear the word free all the time these days. So I mean, there's a fundamental distrust in the market for solar. But on the flip side of that, there is a legitimate interest in solar.
Yes.
Because it is I mean, it's a product that works. It's proven. And, it can be a huge benefit to homeowners that are looking to save a little bit because they've got the crunch happening in many other ways with the economy and the interest rates and, everybody's being squeezed. So everybody's looking to implement something that's going to save them a little bit of money. I mean, the very wealthy people oftentimes are not always the best individuals to sell solar to because they could care less. Got the money to pay the bill and they're not really effective. But it's the middle class individual, that is that's really hurting, and the ones that are trying to save money, that's the target market, right? So there is a genuine interest, but at the same time, there's a fundamental distrust because we all see the bad advertising. We all see the advertising that is clickbaity, right? Which there's a time and place for that, right? I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't. And I know that if you're a straight lead generator and that's what you do and you're, trying to acquire leads at the lowest cost and you've got buyers that are willing to play the numbers game, there is a time for that. But if you are in a sales organization, you're trying to sell as much solar as possible, you don't want to necessarily run with that type of, strategy full bore, right? There's other ways that you can, make your money work for you. I'm wondering, if we can, this conversation is really a conversation about the industry and a lot of things that we plan to do. Tanmay, you're going to be taking part in a lot of it because you are, a core partner fine.
Yeah.
But I think that like what we should do, Tanmay, is come up with, you know, the part 2 to this conversation where we can actually know the flow of, you know, of how the appointments are booked. I mean, maybe you could even provide some, you know, some details or some information on scripting or whatever the case might be. I don't want to drop
Yes.
all this in. So whatever you're comfortable with sharing, feel free to share it. But I'm not trying to pull secrets out of your pocket to share the world.
So, so what happens is, scripts, they keep on changing, right? There is no set script. So the script that might work in Washington may not work in Massachusetts or any other state, right? So you need to do your market research as advertisers, as appointment setters, and just try to be human with the homeowner. Do not be pushy, and just make them feel that they are another homeowner that is going to switch to solar with you. Make them feel special, and it's all about being legit.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great point. You know, I work with individuals that actually go the extra mile to make people feel special and personalized attention instead of just the call center rep, right? You know, trying to book,
Yes.
and everybody does it a little bit differently, but I've seen great results from individuals that are willing to spend a little bit more time to build rapport, right?
Yes.
So maybe we can talk about all of, you know, the inner workings of the appointment setting agency world upcoming. You know, I'm working to schedule, and I'm going to create an event around a tutorial and a conversation around Google My Business and how organizations can set that up. I'll be creating an event, you know, basically to speak about the Alpha Ping tree, because I think that that's important for organizations to understand that it's possible to run your own, you know, lead gen organization and tie into low cost leads and high volume with control on quality, bid for performance, scale your operation, and then also profit lead gen sales and grow your partner network. That's a huge topic that I want to talk about. And then of course, you know, as I said before, we're talking about customer acquisition across the board. So there's no one thing that we're, you know, trying to, you know, talk about here specifically. My goal is to provide a wide range of understanding of the industry and how you acquire customers, right? There's a lot of different ways, even organic, right? There's organic ways that you can acquire customers, the grassroots organic stuff. I mean, that's not as scalable. It just depends on your offer. It depends on your industry and what you're trying to do. But there's from A to Z, there's so much to talk about in a group like this, focused in on lead gen, customer acquisition. And I'm excited to do it. So we're going to be building a roster of events and regular appearances here inside of the group. What we want from you as a member of the group, if you listen to this far, right, is feedback on what it is that you're most interested in learning about. And you can get as granular as possible with it, right? You know, go ahead and be granular with it. And, you know, the hope is that we can review that and then we can talk about it and maybe even potentially assist you in some way to get your problem solved. But regardless of all of that, I'm really excited. You know, I'm excited to be working with you, Tanmay. We've worked together for quite some time, but like this is going to be a regular thing. And I'm excited to have you in the fold. And I'm excited to meet you guys. For those of you that are in group, I'm excited to hear about your pain points. I'm excited to be able to provide, you know, some free advice to some free community so that you guys can get better at the craft of lead generation, because it is a craft. And once you master it, really, I mean, the sky's the limit for you. It doesn't have to be the sale of a particular service. It could be the sale of products. You know, this is all a mechanism for catching attention online, bringing that attention into your funnel, and then working that towards an outcome, you know, and making sure that for every dollar that you put in, you get a return on ad spend on the back end. You know, that is really what we're all about here. So anyway, did you have anything else that you wanted to, you know, bring up to the group or talk about, or anything that you feel like, you know, we should be covering in the future? Any topics, anything?
Yes. Yes. So I just have to say that it would be awesome if you guys can drop your queries, questions, or past experiences, anything in the comments down below, and we can create content pieces like this over those questions and queries, and that would be really powerful for this community as a whole.
Absolutely. Well, that's the goal. We're committed to it. Life is getting a little easier, and the babies are getting a little bit older. And I am more focused on this than ever. Really excited about it. Won't take any more of your time. Continue to go out there and crush it. Practice your craft, run your tests, make your sales, do all the things that you need to do, and just always strive to get better and better every day. If you do that, then you will be successful. So anyway, Henry and Tanmay signing off. Thank you guys.
Have a great one, guys.